Hello, welcome to Hams Radio. I am Hams. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your support as always. Today, I just wanted to go over a couple of things that resonated with me as I was watching some videos this morning to learn how to be more aware and be more effective as I'm going through this journey of healing. On my channel, I will be discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly of this healing journey as I find a life after trauma. If this sounds like something that could add any kind of positivity to your own life, your own journey, I do encourage you to subscribe. Go ahead and hit that button down below. Hit the bell so you don't miss anything that's going on over here. So just to get into it, I want to start my days off with some positivity. Not just get up, not just start doing what I'm doing, but I want to start either listening to somebody else who is farther along on their healing journey. And what I'm finding out is a lot of what I'm figuring out, a lot of what the conclusions I'm finding really line up with people I'm watching who are doing spiritual journeys. A lot of what they're saying really just matches what I'm doing. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about that. I started listening to this guy, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he was saying a lot of stuff that I felt really spoke to me. Things that I need to start either being aware of in my own life or connections, or I'm connecting points together, and some of the stuff he's saying is giving me an explanation why I've connected dots or why I'm doing something, or he said stuff that I can start adding to my own life. So I just wanted to go through a few of them. He says, we're so reliant on the outer world to change our inner world. I know I have been super guilty of that my entire life. I have been affected so much by the outside world that I guess part of me just believes that change can only come from the outside world. In the last 3 months, I have been learning that is very, very different. He goes to say, waiting is not creating. Waiting on the outer world to change my inner world, that's not creating. That's not creating a new life, a new future for me. That's waiting on somebody else who might come help you. Might come help you create this life that you want. But the chances are you're going to need to do this yourself. So I have decided, and I know in the last 3 months, this is something I've been doing, but being able to say this in words helps me understand it more. So to become more of a creator of my life and not the victim. As I'm learning, the place of the unknown is actually the place of growth. Dr. Dispenza says that I have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So the place of the unknown is growth. I found that in the last 3 months. It's those uncomfortable moments when I'm feeling a flood of these emotions that I don't know where they're coming from. It's making myself sit down and really draw and focus the way I'm being taught how to draw, and not let this left side, the logical side, the analytical side, who I feel like is not serving me very well. It's those times that your body wants to get up and leave and not continue this task anymore. It's the unknown. It's creating this world that you want to be in. And in order for that to happen, you need to expose yourself to places you've never been, feelings you've never experienced, things I've never experienced. And that is how I grow. That's how I become more self-aware to everything I've been doing. Because on the other side of I can't do this, it's too hard, is my healing. So every time I tell myself I can't do this, it's too hard, what I'm actually doing is preventing myself access to this healing that I desperately need. So I need to start consciously catching myself when I'm allowing these I can't and negative feelings kind of seep in. The doctor continues by saying, when a person is less reactionary, when there's less of a response that weakens them, less of a victim to their own environment, they become less of a victim to their own environment. Large scale, small scale, the body has a greater immunity to whatever it is. So if I have greater control over my emotions, as I have over the last 3 months, or not greater, I would say like the petty emotions have kind of just dropped off. That indignant feeling when somebody inconveniences you, the little burning inside, I'll get it when like someone's rude or someone's disrespectful and I feel like they need to be nicer to me or they need to be less rude. Like I don't need to emotionally react to that, because what good will it do? I have no control over what they do. Why am I going to get mad over something I cannot control? Focus on what I can control and work on that. So when I reduce my reactions to these negative, whatever they are in my life, the less effect it'll have on me, the more immunity I have. He actually goes and talks about, there was this study he did where they took cells from people who meditated and people who didn't, and then they had a control group or something like that. But the people who meditated, when their cells were introduced to, I don't know what disease or whatever, but when they were introduced to some kind of disease, it didn't enter the cell. The control group, it all entered the cell in the whole control group, according to this doctor. But everybody who meditated, everybody who really were on their journey of healing, their spiritual journey, they were not affected by this disease. I thought that was super interesting. So the less reactionary I am to an event, better for me. So I'm going to take that definitely moving forward. Because if not now, when? When am I going to decide today is the best day for change? If I'm allowed to give myself excuses and let myself off the hook because today's not the day, I don't feel like challenging myself, I don't feel like reining in that emotional reaction, even though I know it's not appropriate or it's not good for me, I'm just going to let it go. If I'm allowed to do that for myself, when is the growth going to happen? When is the uncomfortability going to happen? So I need to be in a more of a mindset of, yes, you caught it, so let's change it. You caught it, let's change it. Be more aware. And he spoke about something that really, I really connected with. I really resonated with, because it fit me so well. I feel like it was talking directly about me. He goes to say, when the survival gene is activated, preservation is key. So when something, let's say 10 things good happen in my life, 1 thing bad, I'm going to direct my attention to the bad thing, because I want to make sure that doesn't happen again. The thing that happens when I do that, the doctor goes and explains, in this state, in this, putting attention all on that one bad thing as opposed to the 10. In that state, they select worst case scenario in their mind and emotionally embrace that. They emotionally embrace that future before it even happens. So he is saying, I'm already getting my body into this state of anxiety and fear, conditioning my body with that anxiety and fear. I'm already getting my body into the state of anxiety and fear before this event even happens, before there's any sure way or sure probability that this may happen. So I'm constantly in the state of anxiety, fear. He refers to it as an overly aroused state. Overly aroused, he says 3 things will trigger this: fear, anger or hostility, and pain. I can say for a majority of my life, I have been living in fear, I've had anger, I've been in pain. As he described this overly aroused state, I felt like that's the state I've been living in, the survival state. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times. I need to shed the survival mode that I've been living in. I need to live beyond the trauma, live beyond what the trauma has done to me, the scars it's left. I need to live beyond that. And I believe once I start operating in this future that is beyond my trauma, new shit's gonna be opening, new stuff, new possibilities I could not even imagine. So as I've been living in this overly aroused state of fear, anger, and pain, I'm going to need something to kind of dim it down a little bit. My body figured out that alcohol is a great way to reduce this internal state of high anxiety, fear, and pain. And an overly aroused mind will be super analytical. And I say this because I noticed when I'm trying to shift into our right hemisphere mode when I'm doing my drawing, I find that I have a lot of difficulty, but it makes sense in order for me to get into this R mode. The left side needs to drop out. As I said earlier, the left side of the brain is responsible for analytical shit. So if I'm overly aroused and being overly aroused equals being super analytical, means me being super aroused, me being super analytical does not allow for my right hemisphere to really engage. And I think that may be why, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but it makes sense. That may be why I need the weed in order to draw. I need the weed, I need to use the weed as a tool to get my mind comfortable being out of this high arousal state. Super strange. I've been able to get into R mode a couple of times. It is the weirdest shit ever. I'm super uncomfortable. It's not something I'm comfortable in. But the more I force myself to get into that state, the more comfortable I will be. Hopefully, this highly arousal bullshit will stop being as much of a constant. So I wanted to finish this up saying, I have been conditioned to react a certain way to the world around me. I have to break these unhealthy habits, these unhealthy thoughts, and unhealthy reactions and create the future I want. Yes, I have had to survive some terrible things in my life, but in order to thrive, in order to truly live, I am looking to a future in a new light, letting go of my past, and will be working on who I'm meant to be. Again, this doesn't mean I'm going to be overnight. This is something that I'm putting out into the world. I'm putting out saying, this is what I'm going to focus on. This is how I want to apply what I've learned this morning. And I'll have good days, I'll have bad days, but the important thing is the progress that I am seeing, and even on bad days, not letting those trip me up. If I'm letting bad days trip me up, I'm not going to have as many good days. The more I focus on intentionally being uncomfortable in order to see growth, it's really changed my ability to be uncomfortable, and I'm really liking it. I think that's all I have for today. Thanks for hanging in there. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos about, I don't know, anything, let me know. Drop a comment. Or if there was a concept or anything in this video that you'd like me to go over more or give you more information, I will leave my email, my Instagram, my Twitter, all down below. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to comment. If you've reached it this far, please leave a heart so I know you watched it all. Until next time, thank you for being here.